Welcome to Golden Goal TV. Yes, we are live with our preview show of the weekend's action. Don't worry, though. We know there's a big game going on, which is why we're going to be doing the score alerts from that as well. So hopefully you guys can still join us and enjoy a bit of both. Will be highlights from both. We'll be previewing the weekend's action. We'll also pay tribute to the commentating legend that is the late, great Mr. John Motson. So, yes, hopefully you can join us. Hopefully you can get involved in the comments and in the various chat groups. Let's go.
Kicking way to do so. And it's him. Back to Balotelli. It runs for Aguero. They did it!
Hazard still on the ground as Charlie Adam goes for goal here. Oh, and he scored!
And was by Stones. And Ross Townsend!
A field of minutes. And Aaron Ramsey starts and ends. An immaculate.
Trying to find a way through.
What goals there? What goals? Hey, never gets boring. That's right. So let's get on with the show. Before that, we're going to introduce the panel, but we do also have a guest appearance from someone too. So we'll get onto that in a minute. First on the panel, haven't had you for a while, but you're back, Dan. How's it going?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. I joined at 5-2. So that's
You joined at 5-2. Wonder what that could be hinting to.
I wonder.
Nick, before the final, how's it going?
It's not going too badly, thank you, Hubert.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed. Newcastle double win in London.
We will preview the final later, so plenty to talk about there. And of course, in the producer's chair, Mr. Jonesy, how's it going?
Yeah, not too bad. Pretty happy. Still top of the perch. Loving life at the moment.
Took advantage of City getting lost in the woods or in the forest more appropriately. So, yes, hopefully you guys will be watching and commenting along. If you're in the WhatsApp group and you're watching, put a message in there. I'll be keeping an eye on that. We do also have a new Facebook Messenger group that we're trying out. So if you're in there and you're watching, put messages in there as well. And we will get to yours one or the other. You can also obviously use the built-in comments feature as well. Before that, though, we're going to get into a little tribute to the one, the only late, great Mr. John Motson, who sadly passed away today after he commentated on 10 World Cups. Quite a career. So I was wondering, first of all, before we go to the recording we've got, if people on the panel here had a favourite moment from John Motson's commentary. Dan, have you got anything?
I mean, I see why you ask if I had anything, but it's hard to pick something out because you sort of, when something's that iconic and you just sort of know the person, if that makes sense. But I think it's, rather than a favourite sort of moment, I think it's always the way that he had the energy and enthusiasm for the game. And you could just tell that he loved being there. And his football was sort of life, if that makes any sense.
That's fair enough. Nick, have you got a favourite commentary by any chance?
Probably France. Probably when he commented on the 5-5 West Brom Man United game. That was probably iconic, and there's quite a lot of great moments. Obviously, the fact he commented on the famous goal for Hereford against Newcastle in the FA Cup. But yeah, it's just it's just sad that he's passed away, and just the generation have been growing up with his commentary. So it's just a sad day football wise.
It is quite sad. Jonesy, favourite commentary from Motsy? Go Motti over there.
I think I've got a couple, to be fair. He was literally the voice of football for me when I was growing up, listening to him on the radio in the bedroom. So there was two that sticks out. Reyes' first goal for Arsenal against Chelsea in the FA Cup. The famous line, "The young Spaniard has arrived at Highbury." And then obviously I was lucky enough, I heard him on the radio for when Henry returned when he come back to us on loan and he scored against Leeds in the FA Cup as well. So just a couple of iconic moments that he was able to comment on for us, and it's just made the memories a bit more special. But yeah, what a legend. He was an absolute great in the game, you know, better than some of the biased commentaries we got at the moment. But yeah, he was really, and especially for England, the stuff he done for the World Cups on BBC and stuff like that, he was literally the voice of football for me when I grew up.
He's done some great World Cup commentaries. I mean,
yeah,
you can lose track in all the games he's commentated. I mean, there was that terrible Euro 2008 qualifier against Croatia, which he unfortunately commentated on. But there was a phrase that stuck to him once during one of the England games where I think Sven was England's manager, and I think he said something like, "It's getting better and better and better and better." And then at one point later, I can't remember, a few years later, he was saying that Sven came up to him and literally said that phrase to him. These commentaries stuck to him because someone actually did remember it, and yeah, came up to him with that commentary. Well, what we actually have now is Matt, who was obviously producing for us for a while, and he's not on the show at the moment, but he has recorded us a video as a tribute to the late great John Motson, which we're going to play you now, and then after that we will get on with the rest of the show. So if we can get the video.
Hi everyone. Unfortunately, I am not there tonight, so I've had to make this video for you all. So, with the sad news that John Motson has died earlier today, it is really sad just for myself and others that have grown up with him being that voice of football. He was also a huge influence, not only for myself but a lot of others. The fact that he would just round up those stats like they were nothing and whistle them out every 5 minutes, it was amazing. There's always some sort of fantastic moments where he would just surprise you, and there's moments where he accidentally lost his voice halfway through commentating against Fulham a couple of years ago. It was around 2003, 2004. It was a bit of a funny moment, but it was fantastic. John Motson's just been a voice of a generation. He's been there since I've ever been into football, and for many, he was Mr. Football. Not only that, I actually know someone who actually went to school with him, and the fact that he's died is it's a huge loss, not only for football, but it's a huge loss for those growing up that would never have heard of him. I'm really deeply saddened by this as well. A really emotional moment from a personal level. There's so many moments that I could have picked up and just said, oh yeah, definitely that's my favourite moment. I can't whittle them down. It's just every time I knew he was commentating, it made me happy. It was in that comfort zone. You knew you could trust him to guide you through the game. It could have been England 0 against Cameroon, and you would still and a 0 against them too, and you'd still trust him to bring up some fact about how David Beckham's used his left foot 3 times this match, or how Joe Cole last goal was against Sweden in the 2006 World Cup. It would be something like that, along those sorts of lines. On top of that as well, he was hugely devoted to a lot of people don't know this, but he was devoted to Barnet. Barnet was his football club. Barnet was also my first football club that I went to go and see, and I grew a lot of fondness for that. And he was just a huge character, and he's also been told that the creator of Football Manager, Miles Jacobson, has seen him around at Watford as well. So he was still going to football games right towards the end there, and it's just a real shame that we've lost someone of his calibre at only just over the age of 70. And I'm really sad about it, because it now means that we've lost a generational talent that not a lot of these youngsters will have heard of, and we're going to have to go back to some of these older images just on YouTube and things like that to go, oh, do you remember this? Do you remember that? Do you remember what happened? John Motson helps us guide through us some of the best moments in football for over 30, 40 years. And it really is a big loss. The fact that he retired as well, his last game was actually an Arsenal game. I believe it was against Crystal Palace, and that was on the radio and things like that. But it's a huge loss for the football, and I am really saddened by this. Although it doesn't look like it, I'm really saddened. He was a real hero to me, a real huge inspiration for myself. It was one of the things that people told me I should be looking into, going into commentary, because I could just rattle off stats and things like that, and he was a big influence. So all my thoughts and prayers are with the Motson family at this difficult time, and I wish them all the best. And that's all from me now, and see you next time. Goodbye.
Thank you there, Matt, for what I would say a very emotional tribute there about John Motson, and certainly plenty of personal links there, with Barnett and with, Matt liking his stats. So there's quite a lot there. So I thought very, very good and very emotional tribute there to the legend that is John Motson. If you have your favorite John Motson commentaries, obviously comment in the show so we can hear which commentaries you preferred. Because he's one of these commentators which not only we won't forget, but also one we probably will not get again. We've got some good commentators nowadays, but let me tell you, I don't think anyone can actually replace the talent and the uniqueness. Uniqueness that John Motson had. Well, let's move on to talking weekend's football, and we're going to talk about the first game we're going to focus on is quite an interesting one. So we're going to talk Leeds Southampton. So let's look at this from this point down. You've got Leeds, who have appointed Watford's longest serving manager in the last 7 years, Mr. Grazia. And you've got Southampton, who still do not have a manager, I don't think. As far as
no, they haven't appointed a manager yet.
What you're looking at here is almost a relegation battle, considering where Leeds are. What do you think is going to happen in that game? What are your thoughts?
I think, to be honest, both teams this season are definitely massively underachieving. But I don't know, I think Southampton are going to have a little bit of something to go off of after the win against Chelsea. Leeds obviously might have the bounce. I think it could be quite an interesting game. I think Southampton looked a different team, even under the caretaker manager that they've got at the minute. But obviously the new manager is in at Leeds. We don't know exactly what he's going to do, what he's got planned. But to be completely honest, I can see it being a decent game, but I think it's going to be quite an equal game. I can't see anything shocking happening, because I think it's one of the games that could go either way, and it's not really going to be a shock. But yeah, I'd say it's going to be quite an equal game, but a good game to watch. And, if Southampton get a couple more wins, then do they give that manager the job permanently? Who knows?
What result are you going for? What's your prediction?
I'm going to go for a 1-1.
Okay. So, Nick, what do you think of the game? What do you think is going to happen in the game? But also, the question I'm going to ask you is, what's your thoughts on the managerial appointment for Leeds?
I think it's a very interesting appointment for Leeds, because I think there were other managers they wanted to get, but they just couldn't. They wanted the Balacano manager, but they got blocked there. And Carlos Calvera, West Brom, they wanted him, but he agreed a new contract. So they're gone. I think they just wanted to get someone in, so that's why they turned to Javier Grazia. I think he did a very good job with Watford. He got them the highest Premier League finish. He got them to an FA Cup final. Yes, got absolutely thrashed by Man City, and then their confidence got took a massive dip because of that. The beginning of the following season, but he did do a good job at Watford, and he's done a good job with Valencia in Spain as well. So I think it's not a bad appointment. And then I think it's going to be a tight match, Leeds Southampton, because they both need points because they're both in the relegation currently. Leeds have home advantage, so that might help them with the fans backing them. But I'm going to say probably I'm going to say 2-2 draw.
Okay, Nick's going for a more exciting draw. Jonesy, is Harvey Gracia, is his appointment having a manager that's a bit more of a Bielsa way rather than clearly the Jersey Marsh way, which didn't work at all?
Yeah, no, he could be a good fit for them. I agree with what Nick's saying. He's got Premier League experience. You know, he can get teams like Watford up there, but it's just have that consistency. I do think Leeds are in big trouble this season. I don't think they're going to get out of it, if I'm being honest. I think Southampton have looked like a team rejuvenated since they've got this Celis, is it? The guy who's in charge at the moment, who's helping them out. So Southampton, I think Southampton will win it, and I think they'll win it quite like 3-1, 2-1, something like that. I see Southampton staying up and being okay, but Leeds, it's another appointment that he'll be gone in the summer. So,
well, you do wonder. I think it depends what he does with Leeds. I think it all depends. Oh, we're going to have to stop there. We've got a goal in the Man United game. It is Manchester United 0, Barcelona 1. Robert Lewandowski with the first goal.
Lovely job, Lee.
So, yes, that is Barcelona currently 3-2 on aggregate. Well, it's Lewandowski scored a penalty for Barcelona. So, Abdi's at Old Trafford. Are they going to concede 4?
Come on, don't get my hopes up.
Trips to Man United games. 3 more to go.
He was at Brentford. They got smashed.
Well, this time, though, Abdi's at Old Trafford, so does the jigs carry on to the home games as well? Have to wait and find out. I mean, to be honest, being a Real Madrid fan, I don't really want Barcelona to win, but if Barcelona knock Man United out with a Frankie de Jong goal, that would be funny. Is he playing on the pitch? Is he actually on the pitch?
He's playing, yeah.
Excellent. Come on.
So there you go.
Poetic. Okay? Right. My thoughts on this. When it comes to Leeds, I think that managerial appointment is interesting. It's a bit left field because he was never discussed really as a possibility. He was never talked about as an option, even though technically there was no reason for him not to be considered. So that's certainly I think it will be interesting. I think it's a much better appointment than Ted Lasso. Obviously, but I don't know. I mean, he will. You can guarantee on one thing: he will get more time at Leeds than he did at Watford if he does well. If he does as well with Leeds as he did with Watford, which you have to look at it that with Watford, he got thrashed by Man City, who at the time were pretty much unstoppable, and it was Man City. So it was really nothing embarrassing to lose to, the team that Man City were at the time. So it'll be interesting. Southampton, I don't know what they're doing, but Lucas just said in the WhatsApp group, Abdi curse continues. We're probably going to lose now, he says. So, very positive there already from Man United fans. They just conceded 1 goal. And already things are falling apart. So Southampton need to get a manager. They desperately need someone. I don't know who it would be at the moment, but it's an interesting one. They got that win against Chelsea, very big boost for them. Will that rocket them up to get more wins? I hope so. They're playing Leeds, so I'm hoping for a 2-1 Southampton win. There, right? Have we got any comments before I move us on?
No, nothing at the moment.
People watching the game, but join us. We've got the live score updates and comments and all that, so please do join us. Next game we're going to move on to is Leicester City versus Arsenal. Now we're going to start with you on this, Jonesy, since you are an Arsenal fan on the show today. Arsenal, okay, they lost to City, sure, but they bettered City's result over the weekend. 2 points clear. title challenge lives on, and you're off to the King Power. What do you think? Surely a win for Arsenal.
Yeah, you would think that, wouldn't you? But with the twists and turns happening at the moment in this title race, anything can happen. We could be behind City come this time next week. It's all about consistency. Arsenal, though, to get that win against Villa, I think that has done miles for their confidence. We had to win that. We had to get a response. We did. And I think it was fully deserved. Second half, especially, we were all over Villa. But yeah, Leicester, I don't know, it always seems a tough ground for us to go to. I mean, last year, we were saved by a fantastic Aaron Ramsdale save from Maddison's free kick. And then we went on to win the game. So it's always tough when we go there. And you just know Leicester will probably turn up. Vardy will probably turn up, grab a couple of goals, as he always does against us. But I do see us winning. But I don't think it's going to be comfortable. I'm thinking like a 1-0 maybe, or even something like a 2-1. It will be tight, and I think that's what we've got to expect. Every game for us now is a cup final.
Absolutely, and every game you're looking at the City results, and I mean the good thing in this one is what you really need to put up the first results. So if you win, then technically, yes, you're still on Bournemouth to get something against City, but technically, if you win, regardless of what City do, you'll be safe for another week at the top. So. Yeah. You can claim that first win just like you did, last week. But last week City were obviously a lot closer. So see what happens in that one. Nick, what do you think?
I think it's not an easy game for Arsenal. Leicester have performed very well in recent games. Iheanacho's in form. Harvey Barnes is picking up form. Maddison. Even though Madison's a fitness doubt. And the defensively they're a bit more solid with the defence. The left back they signed in January, and they've getting a settled team back after injuries. But I think Arsenal picked up confidence winning last week after losing to City. So I think Arsenal are going to win, and I think 2-0 win for Arsenal, but it'll be hard-fought.
Hard-fought 2-0 win for Arsenal. Dan, where are we going with this?
It's a tough ground to go to for a lot of teams. Leicester at the minute in good form, but then Arsenal obviously still going to have that confidence boost from that Villa game. But Leicester at the moment they've been scoring quite a few goals. And I think they could do that again at home. I think the atmosphere for them is going to be good. I think the players are going to be up for it because it's getting to a stage now for Leicester as well where they're starting to need the points to make sure they get up the table and they're not sort of in that scrap. But then I think Arsenal are going to want to put the pressure on City, obviously, to go and get a result. I think it's going to be a game with quite a few goals in it because I do think Leicester are going to score quite a few. But then I think Arsenal are as well. And sort of interesting result. I'm going to go for a 4-3 to Arsenal.
No, my heart can't take that.
I do. Oh my, mate, that would be a thriller. I mean, to be honest, Arsenal did have a 4-3 win against Leicester. I think it was the first game of the season a few seasons ago. So hey, if that happens, it's that first game of the season. I think it would.
A couple of things that could go in our favour. I mean, Partey should be back as well, and there's rumours that Jesus will be on the bench. So it could be good things coming.
That would be interesting if he's back. I mean, he did score did he score a hat-trick against Leicester in the reverse fixture? Was it 2 goals he scored?
It was a hat-trick.
Yeah, so it's an interesting one.
I think it was just 2 assists, 2 goals.
Yeah, plenty of points for fantasy, I think, then. So, my view on this, I mean, yeah, anything can happen. The beauty of the Premier League is that it is unpredictable. Looking at patterns, Leicester against United, they tried to turn up, but in the end, United were just too good. I think Arsenal have the edge over Leicester, in my opinion, which is where I think Arsenal will win it. Will it be easy? No, probably not, because I don't think any game in the Premier League can be. But I think Arsenal will still win over Leicester. I don't know if it's good. I wouldn't say it's going to be 1-0, but I'm going to say 3-1 win for Arsenal. for that particular game. It'll be hard because it's at Leicester, but I think Arsenal have it in them. Their position they're in, they know what's at stake, and they know that at the moment, as long as they can win, they will be very much in the driving seat, and they'll have that one more week at the top of the table. And the more weeks they can pick up at the top of the table as the season carries on, well, the better it's going to get for Gunners. I think. So, yeah. Moving on to... before any comments first?
Yeah, actually, we've got George is in the chat. He's saying, "Hey guys, how we all doing this evening?"
Evening, George. Evening. Good to have you with us. Good to have you put your predictions in, put your comments in. If it's easier, you can also comment in the WhatsApp group or the Messenger chat. We've got that open as well. So anywhere you want to comment, just drop us a message, and we will, one way or another, we'll get to it. As I'm checking them together with the scores for the Man United game, of course. Next game. This one's important, I think, to pick because of the repercussions it will have. Of course, I'm talking about West Ham versus Nottingham Forest. Huge game down the bottom of the table because it's still close between them teams. Now, you've got, let's start with you on this one, Nick. You've got West Ham on one end, who had that loss against Spurs, which bored us all to death until a certain point, and then you have Forest coming to London.
I was glad I was out of tennis for that game.
Yeah, you didn't miss much, mate. I went off and started watching episodes of Vera instead, and was much better. But yes, and you've got Forest on the other hand, who pulled off that great draw against Man City. So, although it's at West Ham, where do you see this game going?
I think this is a much more win game for West Ham because David Moyes will come under pressure if they lose to get this weekend, for definitely, because the way they played against Tottenham, they didn't really create a lot of... There was some chance, but not a lot. So attacking-wise, they struggled a bit as well. So that's why I think it's Forest. If they can get a win, they can boost their survival hope, because I think they're doing really well at home. It's the way they've really struggled, and they need to improve that. The fact Man City last week had a lot of chances, but they couldn't take them. And the fact Forest State managed to stay in the game and took the one chance they had, the one clear cut they have, with Chris Wood, who's now signed for them permanently because he's played the required number of games to trigger that. Okay. So I think it's going to be, Forest 2-1 win.
What'd you say, sorry?
Forest 2-1 win.
2-1-0 to Forest. Well, interesting. Dan, what are you going for?
I think this game puts a lot of pressure on West Ham as a team. I think the other day they looked lost, which I think we've seen quite a lot this season. And I think Forest are sort of starting to settle as a team now. It was always going to take a while because you can't bring in 30-plus signings and just expect it to work. But, yeah, I think they're starting to sort of settle and find themselves as a team. West Ham, again, massive pressure on them now in the bottom three at the minute. Pressure on the manager, I'd imagine. I think they've got to play for it now. I think Forest, the last couple of weeks, look to me a different team to what they were. And whether West Ham can match that, I think that's interesting, sort of what they do, how they approach it. But no, I think it's going to probably be a sort of 1-1 or a 0-0. So I'm gonna go for a 0-0, to be honest. But it's definitely putting pressure on West Ham, especially if Leeds and Southampton are playing each other. There's going to be at least a point in that somewhere. So really, West Ham do need the 3 points.
Ball draw at London Stadium. Jonesy, what are you thinking?
Yeah, no, I agree with you guys. Since the restart of the World Cup, West Ham have been terrible. I mean, we had them on Boxing Day, first game back, and they just were shocking. But yeah, I think Forest are finding their feet now. They seem to gel the players that they brought in quite well. They've got a seem to have a little bit more of a settled side. And there seems to be like they've got a plan now, sort of thing. So I reckon because of the result they got against City, they'll be quite up for it. And I can see Forest winning it quite comfortably, to be fair, 2-0. I fear for David Moyes and Everton at the moment. Not Everton, sorry, that was years ago. I fear for West Ham.
Say.
That was when he did well.
That was when he was actually decent.
Yeah.
Probably wish he was back at Everton, to be fair.
I think it's 10 years
I'd
ago
imagine so.
since he was at Everton. Well,
Yeah,
It
that's
was
true.
actually, yeah, it was.
Yeah, 2030.
Show my age, boys. Show my age.
Well, we all remember Moisey at Everton. I think we all see
Yeah,
very
of
much.
course.
Yeah, of course.
Of course, lad.
Sadly, he's not around much anymore, is he? Right. I think this game's going to be quite an interesting one. I think both teams have a lot to play for, and Forest, I think, are in a just about better position than West Ham, but they both need the points still because, as we know, Premier League season is brutal and it's unforgiving for anyone who drops points in certain areas of the table. So really, both teams could do with points. I mean, I don't think West Ham will be terrible against Forest, but I do personally think this game's got a lot on for both teams, and I think it'll be hard to be a lot harder to pick these teams apart than people think. So I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw in that one. Between the two teams, I think that game will be a lot tougher and hopefully quite exciting, really. So, yes, any comments before we move on?
Yep, George has gone for a 2-0 Forest win.
Yeah.
And he says also that West Ham have been nearly as good as Liverpool since the restart.
Almost.
Well,
Almost.
yes, they've been phenomenal. Yes,
Almost as good,
brilliant.
but not quite.
I saw the West Ham are 5-2 to go down. I mean, I'm not going to focus on the next game too much. It's a one-word answer I want from each of you. Do you think Bournemouth can do anything against City, Nick?
Honest opinion, no. I can't see them doing much. I think Man City will be smarting from not winning last night against Leipzig in Champions League, and they'll want to react to that, and also the fact they didn't win last week in the Premier League. Pep Guardiola will be not very happy with the performance last week, so he will want improvements. So I think Man City will come out all guns playing, and I can see them win very comfortably. I think 3-0 Man City win here.
Okay, will Pep play 9 strikers? That's what we really want to know. Dan, what do you think? Bournemouth, can they do anything against City?
Part of me wants to say yes, but it's going to be a comfortable win for City, I think. I think Bournemouth are an okay team, but I wouldn't say they're up there to play with the big boys yet. I'd like them to get a result. Not that the title race affects us at all, but it's always good to see the smaller teams pick up results, and it makes the sort of relegation battle more interesting if they get points. But no, I think probably a 3. No, I'm going to go 4-0 for City. I think it's going to be a comfortable City win.
I went that scoreline on Super 6, so
I've not done that Super 6
decided not
yet.
to go for that.
Okay, Jonesy, can Bournemouth stop City?
Yes, 1-0 Bournemouth, Solanke.
Love it. Straight off the bat. No messing around.
That'll be the best goal worth of his career, won't it?
Probably, yeah. Solanke. Man City's very own Salah Anki. Yes. I'm gonna go a bit between these predictions. I'm gonna go 2-0 Man City. I mean, I can't see Bournemouth doing anything, but if they do, it'll be beautiful. Can't complain there. But yeah, 2-0 Man City there. Right. Any comments before we move on?
No.
Okay, we're moving on to another Saturday night game, a rare Saturday night fixture, and it's at Selhurst Park, and it's Crystal Palace versus Liverpool. Now, Dan, usually, we're kind of saying, easy win for Liverpool, yada, 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 but realistically, at the moment, what do you think's going to happen? Your boys, they've had a terrible game against Real Madrid where they kind of jumped ahead and then got squashed. They picked up a win against Newcastle, but Liverpool, they're inconsistent to say the least. What's happening? What do you think is going to happen in this one?
I think with Real Madrid and Newcastle, it was the same thing. 2 quick goals, and after that, Newcastle didn't come back, but I think Real Madrid did, and we haven't really been that consistent.
Did. You don't think they came back? They definitely did.
Well, they did.
Put 5 past you.
I tried to forget that part, though. We had Carriers in goal that night, clearly. But no, I think, to be honest, they looked good against Newcastle for the time that they scored the goals, but after that, they didn't really do that much in the game. They died off quick against Real Madrid. I think it's going to have to be the same. They're going to have to start fast and put a goal past Palace and hope that Palace don't do the same. But it's hard to predict any Liverpool game at the minute. There is no easy win this season. I think we've played for easily half the season like a relegation team. It's just the fact that we managed to get some points. We're not there. If you go off of the World Cup since after the restart, we'd be down there. So I'm going to go for a 1-1 as much as I don't want to say it.
Ooh, 1-1. Well, Palace fans would bite your hand off, I think, for that. Nick, what are you going with?
Looking at this game, Liverpool won the last 2 league games in a row, and they've been quite confident wins, boosting, especially the home performance against Everton in the derby. They played really well there and got a good win there. Newcastle, we played well, but Liverpool just took the chances and were clinical. So I think Salah's in form with his goals and assists. Trent, Gakpo, you got quite a lot of players there. Firmino and Jota back fit. So I am going to say a 3-0 win for Liverpool. I think Liverpool are going to grind out the win and get another 3 points.
3-0 thrashing from Liverpool at Selhurst Park. Confident. Jonesy.
Oh, I'll take that. Don't worry.
No, you'll take anything right now, mate.
I'll take anything.
You'll take a 1-1 draw at this rate.
Yeah, that's true. It is true.
Jonesy, what do you think's going to happen?
I think it can go, 2 ways. I think you're either going to get a Liverpool response after the spanking last night, or they're going to crumble and feel it. But I reckon, personally, I think Liverpool will win. Palace haven't been great. They're especially at home as well. Vieira can't seem to find a striker. If they desperately crying out for a striker, I think that's where Palace lack, and Liverpool have got the firepower to put them away. And I do see Liverpool winning quite comfortably. I would say a 3-1, 3-0, something like that as well.
Comfortable for Liverpool coming from everyone apart from Liverpool fan. Yeah, well, good that other people have faith in that in Liverpool, Dan?
I did have
gonna go for a Liverpool win. But what'd you say, Dan?
I said I did have faith in Liverpool up until once we started conceding a lot of goals, and once I started watching Joe Gomez play, and now I don't have much faith at all.
Oh dear. Well, Liverpool defence is just, I don't know what's happening. Personally, I think my thoughts on this, I don't know what's happened to Liverpool's defence. Such a great defence last season, one of the best ones in the league. Is probably one of the worst ones in the league this season. So it's an interesting one. I think Liverpool will still just about win, but I don't think it's going to be comfortable at all. I'm saying 2-1 win to Liverpool on that one. I think close, but still something that Liverpool need. I think any win for Liverpool will do right now. That's the stage they're at. Any comments before I move us on to the last Premier League game that we're going to review?
No.
Preview, so.
No, we're okay.
No comments, no goals in the Man United Barcelona game. Abdi Kursa very much still active. So, yeah. Hope you're enjoying it, Abdi. Hope you're having a good time. Send us a message from the stadium. How's it going? How is it cold? Wanted to leave yet? The next game we're moving on to is a London derby at 1:30. Yes, one team which is very inconsistent in Tottenham, and one team which is very consistent in losing. That is Chelsea. Let's kick off with Nick. I mean, it's tricky to predict because you never know which Tottenham are going to turn up. Even though you can probably tell which Chelsea might turn up. The only Chelsea, what do you think is going to happen here?
I think this is going to be hard to decide to pick. Chelsea have been really difficult to read form-wise. Like, if they played like the Champions League game, and they put that performance in, I think they will play and they will probably be all right. But if they don't, then I think they're going to struggle. But obviously, Tottenham, they are very hit and miss. They can throw in really good performances, and then they throw in the performance against AC Milan when they were awful. So it's very hard to predict.
I'm more thinking the Leicester performance in the Premier League.
Leicester as well, yeah.
Yeah.
They were absolutely torn apart defensively by Leicester. I'm going to say, I'm probably going to go Chelsea to win 2-1. And the reason I want Chelsea to win because Tottenham are above Newcastle on goal difference, but Newcastle played less games.
So invested interest in that game very much for you. Dan, what are you going for? What do you think will happen?
I think it's going to be an interesting game. Two inconsistent teams. I mean, Chelsea consistent at losing, but not consistent exactly when they're playing. I think it's going to be an inconsistent game, to be honest. I think we're going to be seeing the best of both teams at the current sort of stage they're in. And there's going to be goals in it, I think, but I just don't think it's going to be a great watch. I think maybe if I was to put a prediction down, it would probably be 2-1 Tottenham, but Chelsea to play better. Something along the lines of that, I think.
One can only hope.
Well, I think Chelsea have the sort of more depth in the squad. Not that seems to be a good thing, but yeah, 2-1 Tottenham, Chelsea to play better, but Harry Potter maybe to still be out the door. Who knows?
Interesting. Jonesy, what are you going for?
Now both teams to lose. That'd be great.
Well, you can have a draw.
-1 all.
Yeah, coming from the red side of London, I don't say this as smugly as I want to, but I don't really care about you two teams at the moment. But obviously,
well, not anywhere near you, so that's fair to be fair.
But it's always nice to see Spurs lose. So yeah, I would want probably a Chelsea win. If anything, it would be nice to see Potter get a win because I do like him. I like him as a manager. I just feel he hasn't, been given a team.
The question is, would the players that were born German, were they his choice? I don't think some of them were. I think it was the people above him chose.
He's been bounced around before. Are they Potter signings or are they Todd Bowley signings?
Yeah, so that's the only thing. So, but I do see Chelsea grinding out maybe a 1-0 win. I don't think it's going to be pretty.
No, I don't expect a pretty game from this one, to be fair. I mean, mentioning how we played against Dortmund is good, but the longer it is since that game that we haven't played the same way, the more I'm thinking, well, it's good that we played like that against Dortmund. That's fantastic, and it was probably the best Chelsea performance I've seen in months. But I have to say, it's the performance that we need to put in more consistently because we're putting that in against Dortmund, and we still lost, by the way. We need that more. Having that performance once is just not good enough.
I think you need a better performance.
Or the Champions League is a better performance. It's an improvement, but I think that needs to A, be consistent, and B, that needs to transform into some goals because we've not, I think, scored more than one goal for the last 9 games or even more. Hence why I'm not actually thinking this game is going to be high scoring at all. I mean, the problem with Potter is 1, he doesn't know his best team. 2, the players who we've signed have not gelled together, and they need time to do that. Time that unfortunately some fans would say we don't have. I think we do have because we're not getting relegated and we're unlikely to get any European football. So realistically, we might as well just do what we can. But yes, it's the question I always have. Are they Todd Bowley signings? Are they Graham Potter signings? It's a question you're always going to wonder because a lot of them are blockbuster signings, but, would a manager like Potter want blockbuster signings, or would he want signings that may not be star signings, but may improve the squad?
I would say with Potter, you probably want more non-marquee signings, like when he was at Brighton, and be able to coach them and improve them and make them.
That's my thing.
Better players.
That's my thing, and I think players that we've got the problem is. I don't know how will Potter manage players that he didn't actually want to sign, and I think that could be an issue. Do I think Potter should go? Not really, because we don't exactly have great choice of managers available out there. We've got, at best, Pochettino.
No, I think he'd be good. He's good at player development.
As long as you can take the Tottenham, you can take the man out of Tottenham, but can you take Tottenham out the man? Is my question. If you can,
if he wants to get back into work and he wants to get back into the Premier League, I just don't know. There's something in me that could see him there.
I mean, I don't know if the fans will accept Pochettino over Potter. Maybe if he brings.
Will they accept him if he starts winning games? Probably.
Yeah, that's the thing. That might quickly change. We've got Pochettino or Luis Enrique. They are realistically our two options at the moment. So. I'd rather have Pochettino because he's more proven in the Premier League rather than Luis Enrique, who's not proven in the Premier League at all, I think. But remains to be seen.
No, he hasn't managed Premier League.
Exactly. No. So I'm going to go for a 1-1 in that game, 1-1 draw, and I think I'll take it. As a Chelsea fan, I'll take not losing for a change. Dan, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say quickly that I think. Potter, what he had at Brighton was better for him because he could build a squad. I don't think he's the right manager to sort of manage high-profile players. I think he had a sort of close-knit squad at Brighton and they were all sort of the same level as the club, but I think maybe they've come in there and he hasn't got the profile of sort of massive manager. I just don't know if it's the right profile of club and manager for him, to be honest.
Well, profile has been mentioned before when it comes to him.
There's also a point. Can I make a point that at Brighton, the recruitment team were really good at recruiting players Potter wanted?
No, that is true. And also, one of the big complaints from Chelsea fans is that Potter doesn't seem to show any emotion. Never mind anger, arrogance. Potter doesn't seem to be showing any emotion, which, I mean, as much as I don't think it's a great deal as long as he does his job of coaching, I think also if there is a point where a manager shows no emotion, you do, as a player, probably question his commitment and his commitment into his job and whether he actually has an emotional connection to the job he's doing, which I think could be a concern longer. But I'd give Potter until the summer. I think we've got nothing to lose at this point. I think we've come to a stage where we don't have much to lose, really.
You're not going down.
You've only got 15 games to lose.
Get Europe, I think.
And I don't think we've got much to. I don't think we've got much to lose. I think if we were to get a new manager, it would be in the summer. I would give him a summer transfer window if he can get a guarantee that he will sign the players he wants. But we know that guarantee cannot be given, or will not be given, most likely by Todd Bowley. So it's one of these situations where it's tricky to defend Potter, but I think a lot of it is not actually his fault. Or he just might not be ready. So, yeah, 1-1 for me for that game. Jonesy, any comments?
No.
Okie dokie. Moving on to the last game we're going to talk about, and that is the preview of the League Cup final. Newcastle going to Wembley for the first time in a very long time. And you've got Manchester United.
1999, the last time they played at Wembley in a cup final.
Big for Newcastle. And of course, you've got Man United bidding to win their first trophy in 6 years since they've won the Europa League and the League Cup in the same season. So could there be a repeat on the cards? Well, not at the moment because Man United are still losing to Barcelona 3-2 on aggregate. And Lewandowski scoring penalty with an Abdi assist as he's at the game. So, yes, Nick, come on, final. Now, you've got problems. Newcastle have problems there. Nick Pope's not there. Dubravka's cup tied. You need to play Liverpool's greatest keeper in the last few centuries, Loris Karius. I mean,
what a keeper!
What can go wrong?
Well, Newcastle have done really well this season to get to this final. They played really well. Nick Pope has saved us at times, especially in the shootout against Paris. And he's saved us quite a few times this season. The fact he's not there is a bit low, but Eddie Howe came out and was both Eddie Howe and Dan Burner pointing out Loris Karius has done a good job in his career in the past.
Well, yeah.
Debatable.
I also think the fact we've got Bruno back is that helps us big time, because I think we struggled to create much when he hasn't been in midfield, when he hasn't been there the last few games. And also Joe Willock could be fit again as well. So the fact that we'll have most of our big players available could happen. And Eddie Howe will be confident they have a chance of winning the final, and I think they can. And I'm going to say Newcastle narrow 2-1 win.
In extra time or full time or 90 minutes?
90 minutes.
Okay, 90 minutes, 2-1 win for Newcastle. Dan, what are you going for?
It's an interesting one. There's a couple of things to look at with this game. I think Karius, we know what happened, obviously, at Liverpool. Hasn't really, other than a couple of unsuccessful loans, played a first-team game since. He's been brought into a massive game. A lot of pressure on him, which I don't think he copes well under pressure. From sort of watching him previously, it kind of gives it away.
That's the cup final.
To be dropped in as well at that point, no game before or anything. It's straight into the pressure. I can't see him having a great game. I think Nick Pope stabilises Newcastle a lot as well. So they're going to lack a bit of stability with him there. And to be honest, I think United at the moment, obviously losing today, but you can lose against Barcelona. It's easy done. They're both two teams that I'd say at the minute are in really good form. I think, to be honest, that United's form are going to overpower Newcastle. And I like Newcastle this season. I think they've done well. They haven't spent ridiculous amounts of money to build the team they've got. They've got a good manager, a good squad. I can't see them doing it. I think United are going to find ways past Newcastle, and I can see it being a 3-1, to be honest.
Jonesy, what's your thoughts on the final?
I do worry for Newcastle in this cup final. The goalie keeping position is probably the most important. It brings stability to the rest of the team. And he's got a past and a history that isn't great. And no matter what you do, you can't forget that. And I think it just filters through the rest of the team. I know they've got Gamirez back, and they've been playing really well, and and they've been brilliant. But it's crucial, that goalkeeping position. And I just think, a couple of early shots from United to test him. If it goes, a fumble in the box from a cross, and it just filters through the team. We've had it from when we had Leno and stuff like that, and it just goes through the team. It's infectious. And I just worry for Newcastle. I can see Man United, I'm really sorry, Nick, I can see Man United winning this cup final quite comfortably.
How comfortably? What do you think?
3-0.
So I think when it comes to Newcastle, I think the problem with Newcastle is they've had few select players who are doing really well at Newcastle, and one of them is Nick Pope. There's a lot of times where Nick Pope has been Newcastle's saviour in some crucial games, and I think the difficulty here is a lot of Newcastle fans think the same, where without Nick Pope, I think it's going to be a tough task because you've got goal scorers, but in general, when Nick Pope's playing, you've got a better. You've been rescued multiple times by him. I think not having him is going to be tricky. I think it will open you up a lot, and what you will need to do is heavily rely on potentially having to outscore Man United. So I think there will be goals on both sides. I think Newcastle will potentially score, but at this precise moment, if United play and keep the form like they did in that cup final, I think they will still win, and they will still get that trophy, because I think Newcastle are missing key players, and I think Nick Pope is one of these players that will be too big of a miss for Newcastle. I think the biggest the best thing Newcastle can pray for is obviously miraculous overturning of an obvious sending off, which probably not going to happen.
No, they're not going to appeal it.
No, because it's obviously not
Eddie
going to
Howe
work.
confirmed Newcastle are not appealing it.
Yeah,
it is
so that's
ridiculous. I will say it is ridiculous that he got a card in a cup game and it's filtered through into the League Cup. It's just ridiculous.
No, it was a league game.
It was a league game. He got
Sorry,
sent off.
sorry. Yeah,
I don't know if they should filter through. I think that's sometimes a bit frustrating, really.
Yeah.
I think they should. The red cards should be affected in the competition they are in, unless they exit the competition. Then fair enough. For example, if if he was, for example, sent off in a League Cup game, and that game Newcastle got knocked out, let's say, then it should filter to the league because they're no longer in the League Cup, something like that. But anyway,
I think that's where it starts to get messy, though, because then but it didn't happen in the league. I think as much as I could see the fact that he should be playing in the cup, it's sort of 3 straight games, and I think that's probably the easiest way to do it.
Oh, it's the easiest way to do it. It's just the fairest way for them to stick within the competition if possible. But either way, Newcastle don't have Nick Pope, and I think it'll be too much. I would like this game to be a thriller, though. So I'm going to say 4-2 to Man United. I think that will.
How many is Karius going to score for him?
Hey?
How many goals will Karius score for United?
He'll help them score all of them, I'm sure. There'll be
He'll get 4 assists.
He'll get 4 assists for him, eh? Exactly. Maybe score even one of them. So you never know.
He might do.
But yeah, I think it'll be heartbreak for Newcastle. But I think also as Newcastle fans need to be proud of their team for getting into the cup final for the first time in such a long time. Yeah. Even this, I think, is a big boost for Newcastle's future. Even if they don't win it, and you never know, they could still win it. There could still be a shock, and all of what we said could be, wrong come next week. So it will all depend, I think. But yeah, I'm going for a Man United win as well. Their first trophy in 6 years. And you never know, could they repeat the Europa League? At the moment, it is half-time in that game. So we are nearly finished with the show. So we'll let you go back and watch the game and see what happens in the rest. Could there be extra time still looming? And could Frankie de Jong score the knockout goal? Remains to be seen. Right, any comments before we sign off?
No.
Okay, well, thank you to everyone who has watched, bearing in mind there's been quite a big game on. Thank you to anyone who's watched. If you're watching this if you're watching this on demand, feel free to put any comments. Feel free to keep on our social medias. At Golden Goal TV on the Twitter machine. We've got a Facebook group. We've got now a Facebook Messenger group. We've got a Facebook chat we're trying out, so you can join us there if you don't like WhatsApp groups. We do have a WhatsApp group as well, so you can also keep in touch with us there. And we will be back hopefully on Monday, but we'll keep you posted on our social media. You will know when the show's coming, so we'll be there to talk everything that we just previewed. So yes, that would be good. Before that, we'll do a quick social media posting and advertising here. Dan, have you got Twitter where people can find you? Can't remember.
I have, yeah.
What's your Twitter?
It's Danno, DANNO 12021.
Okie dokie. So that's Dan. Nick, are you on Twitter? Where can people find you?
Yes, I am on Twitter, and you can find me at Nicholas Pages.
Nicholas Pages. And Jonesy, of course. Where can people find you?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter, usually ranting or having a heart attack about Arsenal. And it's Jonesy86.
Thank you, Jonesy. And you can find me on @Subsonics UK. That's at SUBSONIX UK. If you wish to find me there, don't often post, but when I do, it's hopefully something of some use to anybody. And of course, you can find us on @Golden Goal TV. And remember, if you've watched this video, hit that like button. hit that subscribe button, please, and that bell icon as well to be notified about our new videos. And share. Tell your friends about us. It's a community for football fans, so the more football fans we can get, the better. And also, the more supporters from different clubs we can get, the better, of course. And if you want to be on the show as a football fan and have your say on your own team, plus also other teams as well, then get in touch with us through various social media channels. We would love to hear from you and expand what we do. So any contribution and any fan attention interaction is always appreciated. Thank you everyone for watching, and we will see you hopefully soon.